Familia, today I'm going to be showing you how to make every single leg exercise more glute focused. To be honest, obviously compound movement, I need to be a disclaimer, normally like things like squats, deadlifts, etc, are compound, so they're always going to target even your legs, etc. That's what they're called compound, but I'm going to make sure I teach you how to make them more glute dominant. Every time I do my leg days, even when I do squats or when I do my RDLs and deadlift variation, etc, I always make sure that always target the glutes a little bit more. And there is ways to make them more glute dominant. Today I'm gonna reveal the secrets to you. Lucky you. We're gonna be starting first of all with RDLs. It's one of my favorite exercises, but a lot of people complain because they can't really feel it in their glutes. First of all, the first thing I want you to know is that RDLs belong to the deadlift familia, okay? So they're cousins basically to the RDLs. Very similar in the movement, they're a hip hinge movement, similar but different at the same time. So let me just show you first with no weight so you don't get confused. Now, even when selecting the weight, okay, with RDLs, I want you to pick a weight that is lighter than your normal deadlifts, okay? Just because you don't have to go super heavy with this. If we have to obviously it's a compound movement, but in comparison to the conventional deadlift, they're more like an accessory exercise, okay? You don't have to go super heavy. You can still go heavy, but I recommend not packing a lot of weight for them. Especially if you're starting out, okay? If you've never done them before, I recommend using first dumbbells or a kettlebell and you work exactly the same. But let me just first explain to you the movement with nothing, okay? So the difference when trying to feel them more in your glutes, one thing is to bend more at your knees, okay? So instead of going down like this, okay, I want you to bend a little bit more like that, okay? So instead of going down like that, which will make you feel it more around here, your hamstrings, okay? I want you to bend more at your knees. Imagine as well, this is a hip hinge movement, meaning that your hips, of course, needs to be first go down and then bend at your knees and descend. Now, in terms of the height, I personally recommend stopping in the middle of the shins. It depends, of course, on flexibility though. So some people can go a little bit more down, stretching their glutes without bending their back, but other people start having lower back bend. So as a general cue, I say to stop here in the middle of the shin in terms of your range of motion, okay? So if you want some sort of orientation to learn how to use your hips first above anything else, is to just first practice standing in front of a wall. So you basically want to drive the movement by trying to touch the wall, okay? Of course, this is not the most reliable thing because you'll have to notice that, of course, the closer you get to the wall, you might bump into this. So use it as a reference, but ultimately I want you to learn the movement without it eventually, okay? So another important thing that I want you to understand when doing this movement and try to really target your glute is to use your feet, okay? What does it mean? I want you to forget about that this movement is like an RDL, and I want you to think that you're doing a leg press exercise, okay? So I want you to push the floor away with your feet, okay? Like you're pressing, like you're leg pressing almost the floor underneath. This is really important because it will help you engage your glutes more. Another thing that will help you engage your glutes more is to tuck your chin in, okay? Really important, so that your eye gaze as well follows the movement. So again, what are the things for RDLs that help you? Let's summarize everything. Number one, we want to bend more at our knee. Number two, we want to imagine that we're leg pressing the floor with your feet. So I don't want you to imagine that you're lifting the weight up and down, okay, with your hands. Rather, imagine that you're leg pressing the floor away from you, okay? And number three, remember to keep that chin tucked in and look down as you descend. Now, very quickly, let's put it into practice with our lovely weight. With our barbell, I want it to be close to our shins the whole time, okay? Because a lot of people tend to move it too far away from them. So the bar needs to be close to your leg throughout the whole movement, okay? Remember, so we grab the barbell, okay? We put clips normally, but I'm just being lazy. But obviously you want to put the clips on. Remember, hips back, we bend our right knee, we stop here in the middle of our shins, and we come back and squeeze at the top. Actually, we don't need to squeeze at the top. So nice and easy again. What we do, we put the barbell close to us, bend our knees, we stop in the middle of the shin, and we drive the movement upwards. This is how you make it more glute dominant. Now, this is $1 million question. How do we make squats more glute dominant? Of course, familia, squats are a compound move like deadlifts and everything, but we can make them slightly more glute dominant. Now, in terms of exercise variations, there's two things that you can do. In terms of where you position a bar can affect how you feel the movement in particular, okay? So you can position a bar high on your straps, which is here, or right at the bottom. There is implications for this that I want you to really pay attention to. When you position the bar at the top, here is called high bar squat, okay? Normally, generally speaking, you'll have to stand a little bit more upright, okay? And that means it's a little bit more core dominant. If you wanted to make it more glute dominant, what you have to do is just make sure you position the bar lower down. So let me just show you from here, that is right at the top, we put it right at the bottom. Subsequently, as well, what we have to do is lean more forward for this. This position, because we're leaning more forward, okay, is more glute dominant straight away, okay? However, the problem is, if you have problems with your lower back, for example, your lower back is particularly sensitive, it engages a little bit too much, you experience pain, probably the one that is more glute dominant, where you position the bar lower and you have to lean more forward, is probably not the best for you, because it's slightly more lower back dominant, okay? So how do we fix it? If you don't want to do barbell squats, there's other alternatives that can work better for you. Still sticking at the squat rack, you can either do box squats, okay, or a box squat. Let me show you in a second. We're getting a bench, okay, and this movement, apart from first of all guiding the mildly beginners that are not very comfortable with the movement, okay, it's also very good for your glutes, and it has a little bit more glute dominant than the normal barbell one without it. Okay, how do we do it? Ultimately, whether or not the general cue is that you want to position a bar, you have to do what works best for you. What works best for me is to put the bar higher, okay? But what I do, so that I can target a little bit more my glutes, is to do box squats indeed, because I like putting the bar higher up on my traps. Some people prefer it lower, some people prefer it higher. Ultimately, it's about preference and what you can stick to, okay? So you'll work exactly the same. You'll tap, okay, and go back. Tap and go back. Nice and easy. However, let's say you even try this and you tell me, Chiara, these two variations that don't work for me. I don't like barbell squats. I even have a solution for you, because I believe that everyone is also different, okay? So it's important to understand the person and what works for them, so they can really focus on the exercise and really grow in the punta. That's what I do with my clients. And again, if you want me to create a plan personalized for you and only you, based on what works for you and your body, okay? Because not everyone is the same. Make sure you inquire by the link below. But now, what do we do if we don't like both or this as a squat variation? If you want to make it a little bit easier and a little bit more glute dominant, let's get rid of the bar. Yes, you heard me. I'm not going to use the bar, but we're still going to stay at the squat rack. We're going to use these little pedals over here, and we're going to be doing this variation here. However, of course, you can do it with using 2 benches instead of this, because obviously if the gym is busy and people want to use the squat rack, it's not the most ideal thing. You can use as well 2 benches, 2 steppers. You just need basically 2 things that elevate your feet. That's all you need, okay? And just for practicality, I'm gonna stay on the squat rack to be annoying. Let me introduce you to one of the best glute variation squat exercises that I personally love, okay? As I said, everyone is always gonna be different, but I love this variation. Honestly, I can feel so much more in my glutes than when I do regular barbell squats. It's insane. So what I will do, you grab a weight. It needs to be heavy enough, obviously, as always. This is a demo weight, so I'm not gonna, because obviously I'm speaking as well. I can't work out, speak as well at the same time. We're gonna be doing a sumo squat, but with elevation. The reason why we're using elevation is so that you can go even deeper, because obviously if you just do it directly from the floor, you just hit it straight away. The range of motion is not great, but we're here for even better gains. So that's why we're gonna be elevating ourselves, okay? And this, I like using the squat rack because it forces you straight away to be on a sumo stance. Sumo means you have to have a wider stance, okay? What you do next, obviously you grab your weight. This is a demo weight, as I said. I normally like to go much heavier than this, and lean forward. Remember, when you lean forward, okay, you automatically start targeting your glutes more. Okay, so the point with this, we're using an elevation, so I want you to go as deep as you can. Otherwise, what's the point of using an elevation if we're not going deep enough, okay? As long as you're not rounding your spine too much and it starts to hurt, okay? And then go up again, and then down, and then go up again. Beautiful variation for your glutes. Trust me, you need to try it. The next thing is Bulgarian split squats. Now, the thing is, with Bulgarian split squats, this is obviously subjected to every single individual. What I will show you is what should help you feel it more in your glutes, but some people swear by doing it the regular way and it works for them. If it works for you, then it's great. However, I still want you to pay attention if you've never tried the variation that I'm gonna show you, and still give it a go to see if it works, okay, for you. Using a bench like so is great. However, it can target your quads a little bit more. If you want to target your glutes more, I recommend using a lower elevation. Also, you remember the tip that people tell you that you have to stride more forward in order to target your glutes, and that is not necessarily true. Just having a stance that works for you is perfect. You don't have to put your legs to the other side of the room, for example. The thing that you need to do in order to feel it more in your glutes is to lean more forward rather than stand more upright. That will help you target your glutes more. I want you to actually use a lower elevation now to try out instead of this. So, as you can see, the lower elevation that I'm using over here is this stepper. It's called aerobic stepper, or however, you don't have to use this. You can also use a thicker plate if you have one of those at the gym, as long as you place it against a wall or something in case it slides away, okay? That's really important. And then do exactly the same thing as you would do during a Bulgarian split squat. You put your foot on top, okay? Remember that you have to lean forward if you want to target your glutes more, otherwise if you want to stand upright, you will target your quads more. Remember, lean more forward and descend down slowly. Try to achieve full range of motion, okay, by letting your knee touch the ground, as long as it doesn't bounce and you hit, obviously hurt yourself. Okay, you can hold 2 dumbbells as well on the side and descend down. This is how you make it more glute dominant. Really important, familia, the leg press. A lot of people actually don't really take advantage of the leg press, because yes, if you want to target your glutes, we know that you have to put your feet on the platform for your glutes, but I want you to try this variation that is perfezione. First of all, I like to put the feet nice and low for your glutes, because I feel like if it's more upright, you'll target your glutes and your quads more instead. Try the single leg variation, okay? But I want you to also, when you use the leg press, to sink, okay? So push, you have your handles, use them. Sink into the leg press, okay? And go all the way down, okay? While you're sinking into the chair, and then push. Make sure you never straighten up your legs like that, otherwise you hurt your knees. Always a slight bend, like so. Then go down and push. Nice and easy, familia. Anyway, these are the most common kind of compound exercises that people do, and how to make them slightly more glute dominant. They work for me as well. I personally feel this variation. Obviously they're compounds, but I do feel them more in my glutes. Eventually everyone is always going to be different, so although I try and I urge you to try them, some people might prefer the original variation a little bit more, because we all have different genetics, different body composition, so it's important to consider it. But ultimately, please try them and see if they do make a difference for you. Of course, if you just want to target your glutes, the best exercise are always going to be glute isolation. Why? Because glute isolation exercises are those exercises that isolate your glutes more. These are always going to be compounded in a way or another. They're always going to engage other parts of your body as well. So I hope you found this video useful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want me to create the perfect plan for you, again, link in bio. And if you want me to create the perfect plan for you, again, link in the description below. Love you, leave you, familia. Ciao.